What's up, guys? Tim Little, Matt Allen. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin, and welcome back to our Buyer's Guide 2025 series. Today we are talking about the best fishing rods.
We are so excited about this video today. Fishing rods are a passion of both Tim and I. Everybody knows that. But even more than that, we're excited about this entire Buyer's Guide series. Many of you are probably realizing right now that you missed the start. We know it's Monday. We know this is when our videos normally arrive to start the week, but the Buyer's Guide series actually kicked off on Saturday, and that began our 7-day-a-week schedule. New video every single day. So some of you need to backtrack, watch a couple of videos to get caught up, but today is the start of rods and ultimately rods and reels before we get into all sorts of baits in different categories. Let's be blunt. The fishing world has changed. Over the past year, every brand in bass fishing has been impacted in one way or another from either items that are made overseas or components that are made overseas. The bass fishing industry is heavily connected to importing. As a result, the pricing has shifted all over. Some brands have gone way up. Some have gone up a tiny bit. Some have gone up not at all. But the end result is that apples to apples comparisons from last year and years before are gone. There are now rods at similar price points that have never been next to each other ever, as well as a bunch of new rod and reel lines. So all of that is to say, today's Buyer's Guide is the best rods for bass fishing. What we have done is we have broken up by category 7 different categories of rods. The first rod in the video will be the most price point, the lowest price.
Inexpensive. Yep.
The last one will be the highest priced rod. Every single rod is a little bit higher than the one before, but we've broken them into 7 categories, and we're giving you 3 lines of rods that really stand out in each price category. You want to kick us off?
Sure. Yeah, it was a great refresher for us to kind of go through and revamp this entire series, right? Like Matt talked about, we can't go back and just go off of what we learned last year or the year before, because a lot of things have changed, some for the better, some for the worse. But what we've come up with is literally this: the best bass rods in fishing in sequential order, in numerical order, from most least expensive all the way up to the most expensive in the rods that we have played with. And yes, I can't remember the number, but I think between Matt and I, we own 30 plus different brands of rods. So we play with a lot. So you went ahead and handed these to me out of order.
We'll go ahead and switch them around.
Number 1 is going to be this guy right here. Now we're going to call this the entry level. Now this is not your show up to Kmart or Walmart and grab a Snoopy pole.
Yeah, this is the guy who's past that.
This is the guy who's past that is taking fishing seriously and wants to have a little bit nicer gear. So these rods are going to be anywhere from like $70 to $80 ish, right? We'll link all the stuff down below in the video description. But the number 1 rod that we're going to start off with, this guy right here. This is the Daiwa Aired X. This has foam grip. It's a quality rod. You're right around that $70 price point, $74, something like that. But again, it's a nice rod. This is a rod that we've had in our lineup now for several years, and we haven't had any durability issues, no breakage issues. But for a guy that's looking to take the next step, this is it. Next up, same type of price point, a few dollars more. This is the Abu Garcia Vengeance. Again, very quality rod. Not heavy at all. Now, some of these rods that you pick up in the store at the lower price points, they're just cumbersome. They're heavy. They're not balanced well. As you start moving up in price point, you start getting a little bit more quality and some different features. This guy right here, again, it's more of a parabolic rod, so you can get away with throwing top waters and cranking with it, but you can also throw your shaky heads and your drop shots and all that sort of stuff. It's a do-all line. That's a really good line. And then next up in this price point is going to be the Dobyns Colt series, kind of the entry level to the entire Dobyns line. What's nice about this line is you have, like this one right here, there's a 734. Now, depending on where you are in the price point, you might be able to pick up an Ecstasy later on in your budget at a 734. So the actions are the same. So with all three of these rods, you're getting higher quality than just those Snoopy rods or those, you know, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but these are rods that we've found at these price points that don't break the bank and just don't break, right? They're durable. So
right. All right, jumping up from there, I'm going to jump up into what we decided to title budget rods, right? We had to come up with a name for these things.
7 different names.
Yeah, exactly. Jumping up a little bit in price point. One other thing I want to emphasize is Tim and I make these selections based on a lot of things. This is not just personal preference. This is not just user experience. We have been in the bass fishing world for a very long time, so we understand that at every age group, there are people in all categories, right? There are 15-year-old kids that want to fish with NRXs. There are 90-year-old men that want to fish with NRXs. There are 90-year-old men that will never spend more than an Aired X, and they are perfectly happy. We also understand that the guy at every price point, as you move through age groups, may be there for different reasons. For some people, a high-end rod is a status symbol. For some people, a high-end rod is all about function and detecting more bites and getting more fish in the boat. For some people, it is a health concern, and a higher-end rod allows them to be on the water longer. So we recognize that there are multiple motivations, and all of those things are factored into our selections as we move up these price points. This is not just slapped together.
Right.
Next category, talking about beginner rods, which is really a terrible term. We know that. Don't be offended if this is your category and you've been bass fishing your whole life. We know that, but we had to put a name on it. The first one in this category, we've moved up again. We're starting around that $100 rod and going up from there now, is SLX. The Shimano SLX line of rods is an unbelievable line of rods. You can do everything from throw a giant swim bait to drop shot to crank and everywhere in between in one line of rods that does not break the bank. The reason why this landed under the title of beginner in my mind... Budget, not beginner.
Yep,
Jeez, good grief. Thank you. The reason why is that this is that first price point where a serious angler could come in and do everything.
Outfit their entire boat with the...
For tournaments forever.
Right.
It's the first place where you arrive where there are no limitations for an entire career in bass fishing, but you are not breaking the bank whatsoever. All right, next one up. From Daiwa, we have the Tatula XT line. Price point, very similar. Statement, very similar. Shimano and Daiwa are just almost status symbols in bass fishing. They are serious rods for serious anglers. And Daiwa, when they introduced this XT line under the Tatula family, brought a serious competitive rod at an affordable price point. Just an amazing job. Same statement. You could do anything with it. You could be happy in that lineup forever unless you want to branch up and continue moving. Next one up is going to be from Fenwick, and this is the Eagle. Small step up in price from those two. Fenwick got a complete and utter revamp, I believe 2 years ago, but years fly by, right? The Eagle is their most affordable in their family of rods. They have 4 lines of rods in the bass fishing world, with the Eagle being the most affordable of them. Full line of rods. The biggest thing that Fenwick has, they call it Family Flex. Tim just talked about that with Dobyns, where you have models that carry over. Fenwick almost took it a step further, where they played with materials and made specific material changes in specific models, so that whether you grab a rod at a $119, or you grab a rod at $200 or $300 or $500, the action is truly the same, which is fascinating to me, and had to be a ton of work to accomplish.
Had to be a ton of work to, yeah. All right, next category. So Matt had budget, so we're gonna call this budget baller, just for lack of
you gotta title it.
So these are for the guys that aren't necessarily on a budget, or maybe they are on a budget, but they still want to spend a little bit more money to get a little bit lighter rod, a little bit more sensitive rod, maybe a rod with a better warranty, or a rod that, you know, is made in the United States. So we're calling this budget baller. So number one in this category is the Cashin. This is the Element Z2. These were just released just a little bit ago. Now again, this is a rod made here completely in the United States. That means a lot to a lot of people, especially these days. I'm one of them. The Cashin guys are great. The rods are good. These Z2s are a lot lighter than some of the Cashin models we've played with around around with the last previous years. Kind of has that unfinished feel to it, which some of the higher quality rods have the same thing. It just, the cork is high end.
It looks high end.
It feels high end. It's balanced really well. It doesn't kind of have that cumbersome feel. But this guy right there, that is an awesome baller rod. And then this guy right here, this is the entry level. This is the Black Bass from St. Croix. Now this price point, what are we, around 130-ish?
More like
140-ish.
There's so many, I hate to even start guessing, but a little bit more, I think.
Somewhere around there. This is Croix's entry level rod. You know, they, just like Dobbins, a lot of these companies that we're going to talk about have higher lineups in their lineup. This is a giant category, like a model that has a bunch of different models in it. Like Matt talked about earlier, as we move through here, you're gonna get a lot more technique specific rods. Okay, so we start down there at those entry level guys. You're gonna have universal rods. You can do a lot of things on a lot of just a few different rods, where these guys are gonna have more technique specific rods. So the Black Bass lineup, if you're a St. Croix guy, they have their St. Croix feel to them. I really like St. Croix. Again, EVA foam handles, very well balanced rods. That's an awesome choice. And then last but not least, geez, I can't even look at this rod without laughing. Like looking at the cork,
it's all
beat
jacked.
up cork,
it's
all
been
the stuff.
through it.
I mean, we've been fishing these, I mean, for a long time.
Don't put a number of years on it.
It's going to age us. The Dobbins lineup, the Fury series, that green line of rods. That was one of the first budget rods back in the day that actually had a full swim bait line.
It might have even been the first one.
Yeah. You know, Dobbins has come, I mean, they have so many different lines now, different price points, but the Fury was the original, it was the original SLX that you could outfit your entire tournament lineup with one entire line. So that's a tried and true. It's proven. You can see by how worn down that cork is and how dirty these rods are. We have put these things through the ringer throughout the years. That's an awesome choice as well.
All right, jumping up from there, we're arriving at what we're just going to simply call mid-priced rods. I got an easy one, right? Mid-priced rods have changed, just like every other category.
The definition of mid has changed.
Absolutely, the definition has slid, right? It has. And there's rods that were mid that are now high end. That's reality. Let's jump in here. Again, we're bumping up in price at each step. Shimano Intenza. We just talked SLX a couple of categories back. Intenza is the next major price point step in Shimano's bass rods. And what changes is actually a lot. Significant jump in sensitivity. Significant jump in look and feel and status, the overall vibe, right? They are very classy rods. I love cork handles. They look great, they feel great, they fish really well. Most importantly, there are a bunch of models, specific actions available in Intenza that you just can't even get in SLX. So a lot of really unique models here. Intenza, for the guy who is considering a step up, The step from an SLX to an Intensa is absolutely worth it if it is within your price point. We don't encourage anyone to jump out of their budget. No. There's a reason we're doing these during a sale. We are doing everything we can to give you this information at a time where you can save money. But if it's in your budget to jump, there are some serious reasons to step up. Next one from there, stepping up a little further, we arrive at Megabass. Megabass Levante. This is Megabass's entry into rods. From here, it goes up in price, it goes up in quality and sensitivity and unique actions and all those things. But the Levante line from Megabass is by no means an entry line of rods. They are incredible. Some of my favorite Megabass rods of all time are in the Levante line. The flat side special in the Levante line is a rod that lives on my deck almost every day of the year. Just special rods, very unique actions. They have some of the best moving bait rods on the market, period. So crankbait rods, spinnerbait rods, chatterbait rods, right? Jerkbait rods. Megabass is really good at those things, and that Levante line is phenomenal. Stepping back from there, in St. Croix, we have the Victory line. So you start with Bass X, then Black Bass, then we get to Victory. And there are, of course, some other price points in between, but we're talking major bass fishing categories, right? Victory, at this price point, at a mid-priced rod, is amazing for the money. This is the, possibly, I don't want to misquote it, but possibly the largest line of rods, meaning the most models out of any of these. I think it is.
It's a lot.
It's insane. Like, even if you were a St. Croix guy, from the time you could walk, there are still models in there that will confuse you. Seriously, there are a lot of models. That's part of why we're linking all of these in the video description, in the order that we're talking about them. And assuming there is room in that description, we'll give you favorite models for every single one as well. Because when you look at how many Victory models there are, it'll overwhelm you. But we'll give you some of our keys, because we have favorite models all the way through all of these. But that Victory lineup, you're talking about an American-made rod, great warranty, from a small brand, just like Cashin. Cashin is another just family brand, right? These are small U.S. companies doing big, big things. That's an amazing lineup.
Yeah, we actually got a chance a couple years ago to go tour their factory, and that was amazing how they roll their own blanket, all that stuff. But,
that was wild.
All right, next category up, I guess we'll call this the mid-high.
Yeah, I mean, this category didn't used to exist, right?
Some of these rods were in this category last year. All right, so let's start off with this guy right here. This is the Elite line of rods from Fenwick. Now, what Matt talked about earlier in the Eagle lineup, Fenwick got revamped a few years ago, completely redone. You know, and I'll be the first to say, one of the first rods I ever had as a kid was a Fenwick. I grew up fishing them. You know, it's a well-known brand, and it was really cool to see them come out with a fresh lineup, a revamp of everything, and they're awesome rods. I mean, I literally picked this up, and I can feel the difference in this from the last category of rods I picked up. They are noticeably lighter. Okay, so again, cork handle, a lot of actions, very light, very sensitive. We've had the pleasure of fishing all these rods, and this is it's not their highest end, right? It's below the world class, but for the price and the category that it's in, this is now a standout in that mid-high price category. Again, lots of models, but right off the bat, I mean, it's noticeably different how light these rods are. Next up, should be no stranger to you guys. It's definitely a stranger in this category. The X-Pride. The X-Pride has been for the last few years our day in and day out, probably most used rod on our deck of our boat.
Yeah, that's our core rod.
It was a rod when it first came out. The price point that it was in, it was considerably better than the competition across. I mean, it should have been a price point or two higher. Right. So now it's more fairly, I guess, ranked or fairly priced.
Yeah, and I feel like Elite and X-Pride are still below their price point, but they're not
it's
not
as
where
drastic
it once was,
where it
but
was.
it's still significantly better than its price point.
The X Pride, the line of rods, the amount of work that went into these rods, the additions to certain models, key models in this lineup, the lineup just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're minnow shaking, punching, frogging, swim baiting, you can literally do every technique out there on an X Pride rod. And while doing so, they're gonna be light in the hand, very sensitive. They don't break the bank. The X Pride, you can't say enough good things about them. They're just got bumped up in price a little bit. So next up, this guy right here, the Dobyns Champion Extreme. Another rod that is no stranger to us. We've fished these since day one they came out. There's been a few staples in our arsenal throughout the years. For forever they've been around. Dobyns is another, I mean, I don't want to beat the horse, but these lineups can get really vast.
Yes.
You can get a lot of different models in these lineups. But again, you're paying for weight, you're paying for cork, you're paying for sensitivity, you're paying for overall feel and look, finished product. That Dobyns lineup, that Champion Extreme, it's not their highest line, but it is a line that has a lot of rods in it, and you could outfit your entire arsenal in them. And great warranty. Can't say enough good things about the Extremes.
The other thing about that lineup is, for whatever reason, there are a couple of models that are drastically more sensitive than some of the others, like true standouts at their price point.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that we include those in the video description as well. All right, we've got 2 more categories. We've been being nice and letting each other go back and forth. I'm going to take this next category, but I mean, we're into the stuff now.
Right.
Anything you want to chime in, you feel free, because
Okay.
you know I'm going to do it to you too.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Next up, Megabass, the Destroyer P5 line. Within that line, you actually have the Destroyer P5 JDM models that were brought to the US, and then you have the Destroyer P5 USA models, which were built specific to like American style angling. There are differences. There are incredible rods in both groups, but the Destroyer P5s are amazing rods. These showed up a few years ago. Fit and finish is incredible. They are they're technique specific. So there are specific rods that are mind-boggling for certain things, but I also find a lot of crossover in them. I really do. But like, this is where we talked about the Deimos.
The Demo, yeah.
That's a perfect example. The best chatterbait rod I have ever found is in this lineup of rods. The 110 stick is in this lineup, as is the 110 special. Just amazing rods that do incredible things. Insanely lightweight rods. Fit and finish, again, is incredible. Detailing is unbelievable. There are rods in that lineup that just aren't available anywhere else on the market. They're just that different. They're really fantastic. Stepping up from there, we get to St. Croix, and this is the Legend X2. Legend X2 came out this year. This is a new lineup of rods. This is a high-end rod. Again, we have stepped up in price this whole way. These rods are awesome. The handles are very unique. It's something, they call it trigon. They are not round cork handles. They are more of a triangular shaped handle. They first did this with the Mojo Trigon, and we were like, yeah, I don't know about that. And then I picked one up and held it and was like, whoa, this fits. And I stand back and I look at my hand. Well, would you look at that? It's not round. That is in fact a triangle. Who knew? They fit my hands like a glove. Incredible feel. They're insanely light, but they're that insanely light that doesn't feel fragile.
Brittle.
Yes. I mean, I feel like I can put the screws to them. I can hammer hook sets with these X2s. The biggest thing, one, they're made in the US, and two, is a 15-year transferable warranty, Wrap your mind around that on a high-end rod. And then last but not least, we talked about this when we did the review of these rods. I'm not going to flex it anywhere near as hard, but when we were at ICAST, we watched one of the guys from St. Croix. We were walking by their booth. We were in a conversation. I looked over and saw.
Yeah,
the guy took the rod, flexed this thing out. I mean, I'm talking he laid her flat on the deck. He obviously had zero fear that rod was going to break. It was really incredible. It was the most impressive thing I saw at ICAST this year.
100%. When that rod got laid over, it caught everybody's attention walking down the aisle, and I thought we were gonna catch like shrapnel, like it was just gonna explode, and we're gonna have. Anyways, I mean, St. Croix, kudos to you. These new rods are amazing. Durability, like Matt said, you know, we've all picked up super light rods, but we've also kind of eased into our hook sets too, because we didn't want those things explode into three or four pieces. These things feel insanely light, but like Matt talked about, insanely durable. Now I'm gonna go out on a limb and like I said, I don't know how they did it. This has always been the staple as far as how light it feels in the hand. I'm holding an 854C. This is a 7.4 heavy, and they feel the same. Like, I don't know.
They're really light.
I don't know how they got these rods so light. I mean, we haven't put them on a scale or anything, but they are either one extremely balanced extremely well, or they are truly lighter than an NRX.
They're super light.
It's crazy. So I'm really excited to fish with those guys. They've been phenomenal so far.
All right, that brings us. Tim introduced us to the G Loomis NRX Plus, which, if you have not been underneath a rock in the last decade, NRX is the gold standard of high-end rods. NRX was, then it was replaced by NRX Plus, which took it even a step further. Feather light, they weigh nothing, unbelievable sensitivity. If you want to feel a bass breathing on your bait before it picks it up, that's what NRX Plus is about. And again, very unique models. The 843C MBR, the 844C MBR, the 853C. So many models that are unlike anything else. The drop shot rod, right? Just standouts, key models. And truly it has been this gold standard that everything else is weighed against. And what is so fascinating today is that we're going to set it back down in the high-end category. And now we're going to talk about enthusiast rods. There's a whole other category that keeps right on going. It's amazing.
Yeah, it just keeps growing. I said my piece about the X2s. NRX is obviously a staple. Stepping it up from there. Now, the price points do get pretty high. We're calling this the enthusiast category.
Yep.
Like Matt talked about earlier, don't break the budget to go out and buy, you know, a Legend Extreme. If it's in your budget, by all means, but don't go broke trying to buy, you know, the most expensive rod by any means. So, without further ado, the Legend Extreme from St. Croix. This is a line that they built solely on sensitivity and weight and balance. Different, I can't remember what they call this.
The coating?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But when I first fished it, I thought it was gonna be super slick.
It looks it.
Right, it looks like it'd be super slick, but it's very light, it's very tacky. Even if it gets wet, it fits really well in the hand. And again, being solid, it's almost like a monocoque style handle. Being solid, that just reverberates in your hand. And you can feel, even if you're shaking a minnow or a drop shot or whatever, this is a spinning rod, but you can just feel that sensitivity is just another level, right? But that entire Legend Extreme, the 7.4 heavy, we have a bunch of our favorites in that lineup.
You just said my actual favorite. That is it.
If you are a St. Croix guy, this is their flagship, and very light, very sensitive, and can't say enough good things about that. Next up, Matt touched on it a little bit earlier, the P5 from Megabass, the Destroyer P5. This is their new Destroyer line, the Evolution. And what you get with Megabass that you don't really get with Most of the others is, like Matt talked about, that fit and finish. I mean, this is like a piece of art you're holding. Although it is insanely sensitive, insanely light, this thing is just beautiful. So to you collectors out there, this is just a masterpiece. This entire line is, it has more of that JDM feel to it, that true JDM feel to it. The models in the line have some of those actions. But if you are a Megabass fanatic like we are, this new Evolution lineup is awesome.
Can I jump in with you?
I figured you would.
You know it. You know it. Megabass is always bringing technology. They're always bringing something, new advancement. These rods have these titanium strands in them. I mean, next level, right? Incredible sensitivity, incredible strength, zero weight.
Dude, that's, yeah.
And they've done fascinating things with them. Some of the models have slant bridge handles where the handle is stepped down. There's a metal piece in there that steps down. Everything is designed for a very specific task, but they have amazing overlap. So if it's a rod that they think you're going to shake a minnow with, maybe that one has a slant bridge on it, and lo and behold, when you pick it up, the rod wants to sit high. It wants to be that way. It's not trying to drop tip on you. But you've got another model where you're going to be cranking. You're going to have that rod loaded up. That one wants to sit low. They're all different. It's fascinating how dialed they are. I've put a ton of time this fall into that new 110 stick Evolution because it's this fascinating mix with a really stout tip and a softer mid for jerkbait fishing, where I think I finally found the rod that I could throw those full size, those bigger jerkbaits on very consistently, and it's only a 6'5" rod.
Yeah.
So it's insanely light. It's amazing.
Yeah,
phenomenal lineup.
Different actions, different lengths. A 6'5", I mean, who makes a 6'5", right? They have some very specific stuff, and like I said, they're awesome.
They also brought back, for the true Megabass fanatics, they brought back some familiar models that you haven't seen for a long time. It's really a cool line.
All right, to round this video out, we went from entry level, now we're in Enthusiast. Now I'm currently holding the most expensive rod that I own, the Shimano Poison Ultima. Now, a lot like the Evolution, this thing is a piece of art. It is so classy, so light, so strong. Specifically, this is that 7.4. It's not gonna break in your hand. The sensitivity is unlike any other rod I've ever fished. You know, a couple years ago, we went into the scientifics of the handle, the hollow handle,
the way it reverberates
in your forearm. This is, again, it's not an inexpensive rod by any means, but it is the ultimate, hence the name, the Ultima, the ultimate rod that I've fished with. I think you probably would agree. It is in a league of its own. It's up there in price point, but the sensitivity, the weight, the durability, the class, can't say enough good things about the Ultima.
The last thing I'm going to add to that is not specific to the rod, it's to this entire category. There are a lot of very expensive rods on the market. There are a lot of very expensive rods around the globe. What we've brought here today, from end to end, are not just rods that stand out at their price points. They do. Each one of them does. But as we get to these really high-end rods, there's a lot of very expensive rods that are enthusiast, but they don't have a lot of function. You take an action and you put it into such a high-end, such a light, such a crisp material that you actually lose the action. There's a lot of very expensive rods that are actually kind of hard to find a use for.
Right.
These are not them. These are rods that will blow your mind, but will also improve your fishing. They are status symbols. They are incredible, but they have an actual impact on your angling. And that is how we created this entire list. Guys, we hope you enjoyed this one. We have never done a video like this before. We have 5 more rod combo videos coming for you, rod and reel. We've also got some reel by themselves, a spinning reel video, a casting reel video, and a lot of technique videos, all still to come. Tomorrow, we're backing it up to the budget, but we're talking rods and reels together, helping you choose your best options. These are not videos we've ever done before. Again, the categories have changed. The content has changed. We are so excited. We will link all of this in the video description, like we've already said in the video we talked about them. Back it up. Make sure you catch yesterday's video, the video the day before, and then tomorrow we'll see you again to keep talking rods.
See you guys.